What's going on, everybody? Gustav the 13th here with another video for the week of the 21st of May 2026. We have another suit here for Banner Drop Knight. It's the full armor engaged Gundam B plan. A 650 general, melee priority 2 with space compatibility here, rarity 3. Running around looking like an age suit in particular here. But very interesting kit. Kind of akin to the Fail Knot in some ways when it has the arm beams and stuff and the arm sabers the way that it does. Although, in this case, we also have the beam cannon, which is a stun. 350 range on that, 350 range on the rapid version, and the rapid version is a 2-burst that also still stuns. So a lot of really good suppression as long as you can landing punish somebody, but that's kind of where it stops when it comes to immediate suppression, and that's kind of the issue in some ways more than one. Got a lot of accumulation stuff here. This suit is actually something where most, if not all of this, can be fired on the move, either immediately or through certain skills that it has that allow it to do so. The funnels in which can all be kind of just thrown out together if you're familiar more with the Yonghwavin. All these can be thrown out, including the support funnels, which is very much like the Hainu, where you can put that on a friendly unit, and some head Vulcans in there mixed in. I'd say the maximum range here is 350, with the support reaching 450 for just locking on other people, which is kind of whatever. But in general, very swarmy, very suppressy. Also, this is a borrow suit from Asian, so the fucking melee resistance is already jacked up. Thank you. But we'll check out the stats anyway. So we got 650, 23k, 31, 32, and math. 39 minus 12 in there, which is kind of rough for it being that low for the melee, considering a lot of the stuff that is here. Although, obviously, a lot of the raid heavy stuff, type disadvantage, not going to do too much immediately. And in fact, I would almost say that despite the fact that this has a decent baseline of over half when it comes to the resistance for ballistic and beam, it takes range damage kind of rough. And it's kind of hard to fix that. Similarly, as we go further down the other stuff here, you'll see some other issues, but range strength and melee strength, both pretty even keel, very Gundam-y in that regard, despite the slight difference when it comes to its defense being a little bit higher and not really favoring melee that much, unless you upgrade it. Movement speed is 135, top speed is 225, thruster gauge is 75, and a turning speed of 75. That thruster gauge being at 75, kinda rough. Especially considering that this has no EX boost, and thank god it doesn't have overboost. But you do kinda run out pretty quickly even with that high, that Force Injector 4, because it's mostly just for redirects. Everything else doesn't really have anything that keeps that kind of on the low end, or you just sipping boost. Hard slot wise, we have 18, 18, and 12 for close, medium, and long. Leg shock absorber 3, emergency evasion system 2, flight control program 3, anti-blast stabilizer 1, highest performance balancer 1, highest spec and back 2, maneuver armor 1, maneuver armor 1. Oof. Typical general thing though, right? Not anything out of the ordinary, just rough that they treat generals like that. First injector 4. So landing while through evasive maneuvers can be cancelled with high-speed movement, and another evasive maneuver can be immediately performed. Melee combo controller 2, high performance radar 2, special leg buffer 2 for 15%. Second weapon buffer actually gives you 35%, and it's pretty much just plastered all over your back, just because of the way that it's all arrayed back there. Psyche weapon optimizer, when changing from a Psyche weapon to a different Psyche weapon, change time is reduced by 80%, which is nice, except for the fact that you still have to wait for the lock-on time in order to use any of these, because you don't have any that just follow you and let you fire with them. So it's kind of a moot point and doesn't really matter, because you're still going to need space in order to get that other thing up anyway. It just feels like an artificial perk that they threw in there just to say that they did. Kind of whatever. Full attack. When a Psyche weapon is in use, both your mobility and damage will deal to enemy mobile suits with non-Psyche weapons will increase. When engaging units with offensive or defensive Psyche weapons, these effects will not be applied. So you get a little bit extra, and of course a lot of people are like, oh, well, you can send out the support things and you'll have full attack all the time, and that'll help you suppress and do more damage, which is nice. And then Link Shot. When using a Psyche weapon, your target weapon can be used during high-speed movement. This skill will not work when you're using a Psyche weapon that follows your unit or a defensive Psyche weapon, so... Same kind of thing here, extra damage for this and all that good stuff, being able to mobile shoot while it's out. And then popping out of here, we'll look at the enhancements. So you got +1 anti-beam, +1 to ballistic resistance, +1 to range strength. Conflict expansion comes in at 2480 for just +1 because it's level 1. Anti-beam resistance level 4 and 4960, and +5 to range strength for 7440. I'll get in here and show it off in practice. Very, very fun on paper, but there are some things that I kind of have an issue with just because of the way that people tend to build their resistance at this cost range anyway. And that's kind of the whole heel of this. But here we go. So let's try to get the accumulation bits pinned down. So obviously, like I said, stun there, double stun there. For the Vulcans, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 17 or so shots there. The missile pods then, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 shots on anything without DC. The rush by itself, doing an okay kind of damage. Keep in mind, this is type disadvantage too. And then these actually get sent out sword-wise and swipe around. You actually see that it's a decent amount of accumulation in order to get a stun there. And like I was saying before, once these come back up, I'll do it real quick. You send both of them out. And a decent amount of ready up time. And obviously when you're doing those back to back, that other skill kicks in for the shortened ready up time. So it's trying to encourage you to do that a little bit more often. Can't really show off the thing for the support one, but you know, that's what we have our example matches for sometimes. Still, very bare bones when it comes to the melee. Downswing is a very wide outward swipe, double swipe with that. And of course you can lock onto these. So I was gonna say on the move while boosting, and then I ran out of boost, but we can just show off the base accumulation or lack thereof, at least with baseline. Nothing to super duper write home about, unfortunately, but you can see that mobile shooting there while those are out. And overall, that's a pretty basic suit when it comes to what it's able to do in the immediate, which isn't bad. I do kind of wish that the opposite, the 2 beams could be fired while mobile shooting, but you can at least do the single. Give you another hit confirm stun in case whatever you're throwing out there isn't really working. But as you can see, not really a base buster despite having all this range and despite having some heavier ballistics when it comes to the missiles and stuff. And that kind of rings with what I have an issue with in this suit. Because of the slottage, you can't really jack up range. The baseline range is very even keel alongside with the melee. So the output on this isn't strong either way, which in some ways is very Gundam-y, except for when you think about some of the higher rarity or just nastier, more centric suits in here that also just all happen to be Gundams. So a little bit unfortunate in that regard. You know, there are certain things that it'll do better than with most, but this is a cost range that also has a lot of really strong suits that it has to contend with in terms of output and usefulness in that regard. But we do have some matches. We're gonna put one of them right around here. Shut up. No. No. At this point, I'm just gonna make a fucking Mega Man playlist and leave it at that. All this other bullshit ain't jiving. I saw more boost on this. Oh my god. He's gonna whip around and I was gonna stab him and I'm just gonna get fucked shot up the hill. Not enough. It's still not enough. He has too much resistance. Oh my god. Oh my god, please, please. Sure shot. Sure shot that floor who's boss. Oh boy. Yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Oh my god, please. Yeah, there he goes again. Please just start dropping. On Chopper, you have a disadvantage while you're dropping over there. Always that fucking doing it. Oh god. Oh. Decisions were made there. No, he died. get this live, laugh, love shit out of my face? I don't know.
おちおち棺桶で眠っているわけにもいかんぞ。味方がやられたぞ。一気撃戦。一気撃戦。ここまでやれる。
Man, now you just get to whip around. Stop pissing me off.
拠点重要度の上昇を確認した。敵拠点へ攻撃開始。
Are we just not interested in extra points? Like, what are we doing? Oh my god, somehow I don't get the fucking roll. Oh.
爆弾が解除されたか。肩がやられたぞ。
Oh my god. Mobile shooting's getting in the way of the roll. It's like, but he has to have his arm up. No, I don't want it. I want to dodge.
味方が敵機を撃破したようだ。味方がやられたぞ。おちおち棺桶で眠っているわけにもいかんぞ。作戦時間終了だ。この戦い、私たちの勝利だ。
So definitely a little bit better. We got the Sugoi on that one. But it definitely needs to be a little too pocketed sometimes to be able to do that. And that was our run in the Type B or Plan B for the FA Engage. Overall, a neat suit. Definitely a necessary thing you have to run out and get. And to be honest with you, this is a borrow suit from Asian. I don't think I'm going to really spend for this on this week. You know it's bad when we're already talking about, oh yeah, they can just buff the output and it'll be fine. I think there are going to be some people who are a little bit better at staying pocketed that are going to use kind of the low impact but high pressure stuff that the funnels are doing. But I also similarly think that if you have the Doga sleeves or if you already have the Psycho Vawu or literally any other funnel related suit at this cost, you're probably going to do okay, if not better, depending on what it is, and you probably don't really have to worry about it. And beyond all that, beyond, you know, just looking at generals, if you have an RF camper or an RF, or if you want to go back to generals, RF Dom, which has nothing to do with fucking Sankimyon, is just a very high pressure melee setup kind of suit more so than this thing, you're gonna be able to pressure these guys out pretty easy. So, neat suit. I feel like a lot of these UC Engage suits tend to just be prototypes for other, like, actual regular UC versions of suits. Like, we were kind of joking around that this could be a prototype for how the Dragoons work on the Strike Freedom or the double fin funnel, things like that, that might come in the future. Or we'll just have to see. You know, I hope this isn't a suit that has to be updated very quickly, but, you know, just from what's been going on in those last couple matches, it does seem likely. I don't think that this will go away very quickly, but I don't really see it sticking around outside of this week for very long. Not because it's bad, but because other shit is just infinitely better. So don't sweat it this week unless you're just really into these UC engaged suits and just, you know, maybe don't have some of the other stuff that's more commonly kicking around at 650. But also good luck if you do spend for it. And that'll be the long and short of it for the full armor engaged Plan B. Glad that it's in. Definitely can hold stuff down. Definitely have to be a little bit careful of how pocketed you are, because otherwise you're gonna get run down real quick in this thing with, you know, very little real accumulation that doesn't take too long to establish. And that's the kind of unfortunate part, despite everything that it has. So hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Otherwise, see you out there in the dailies world.